Okay. Hello and welcome back to the Football Rundown. Hopefully everyone can hear me all right. We're here with the Stockport County preview then, of course, as Stockport County back at Edgeley Park tomorrow night after a 2-2 draw at Leyton Orient, of course, on Saturday at Brisbane Road. Look, a disappointing one in some ways, that we come away with a draw in terms of how the game went. I think if you'd said to me at the beginning, go into the game, would you take a draw away from home going back to Edgeley Park? Absolutely. But then I think once you are a goal up, or you 2-1 up, so a goal up, and then it gets sort of snatched away from you so late on, I think you've got to look at it and say it is a little bit disappointing that we didn't come away with the win in the end. The fact that we managed to get 2 goals away from home against that Leyton Orient side, which were in very good form, is a positive. But I think, look, it's really disappointing as well with the refereeing decision. Obviously, it's hard to ignore it. I'm a little bit unsure on the second one, but I think the first one everyone's got an opinion on, and it's not about an opinion. It's factually offside by a mile, isn't it? And I think obviously we've had the sort of whole weekend to dwell on that. But I think, look, it's not. We can't change it. We can't go back and change it now. It's not something where you'll get retrospective action on. But talking of retrospective action, Jack Diamond will be back for this game after he served his 3-match ban from retrospective action against, was it the Huddersfield game, wasn't it? That they went back on and decided to suspend him for 3 matches, which I thought was absolutely ridiculous. But killed his momentum as well, some might say. But he's back in, he's back available, and will Challinor look to use him from the get-go? I think that'll be very interesting. But all in all, I'm confident about County's chances of securing a place at Wembley, but you just never know in football, do you? And I think that's the thing. I didn't feel particularly nervous at any point on Saturday, right up until maybe 10 minutes before kick-off, and then it hit me. Just look at the poll. I think we've had 2 votes. I've put our County going to Wembley. 2 votes, 100% yes. County are going to Wembley at the moment. No one said no. And I don't suspect anyone will, to be honest. Everyone's going to be positive, aren't they? And we've got no reason not to be. We've done exceptionally well this season, as have Leyton Orient. But I think, look, over the course of the season, we have been better than them. That's why we finished 3rd and they finished 6th. So we've got to look at it like that. We've got to look at it and say, yes, the last time we played them at Edgeley Park, it wasn't great for us. I think we lost 4-1. But that was a long time ago, back sort of beginning of the season in September. And we're a different team from what we are now than what we are, what we were at the beginning of the season. I saw some interest as well. Obviously, I was at the game on Saturday, so I wasn't watching it on Sky, but I believe Sky showed a graphic which showed County's record with and without Louis Barry, with exactly 23 matches have been played, both with and without. And actually, I think it was slightly, County had slightly better stats without Barry than with Barry, which I thought was interesting. But if they're somehow trying to suggest that we're a better team without Barry, I'm not sure that's necessarily the case, even though we might have maybe done slightly better, stats-wise without him. There's probably other ways why you can explain that. Maybe the fact that, the teams had, the first half of the season to sort of bed in as well. I think, look, there's no doubt about it. This team would be a better team with Louis Barry in it. But obviously, we did have to lose him, and it's one of those. But look, whilst we've lost a player like that, like I say, Jack Diamond was having a good spell, good spell of form before that retrospective action against him. Jaden Fevre's started to be given more of an opportunity over the last month or two, and he's looked really good since mid-March now, I want to say. So it's a positive. We've got 2 wide players playing exceptionally well, and that's exactly what I wanted from County. Once Louis Barry left the club, it seemed like we sort of changed the formation to play without wide players, and I always felt that we would be better playing with wide players. And over the last few months, it does change at times again. We seem to be switching quite a bit. Sometimes we start with a 5 at the back, sometimes we start with a 4 at the back. I personally think we always look better in games with a 4 at the back, but Challinor does seem to like to have that opportunity to switch, and sometimes that winger does become a wing back, and typically 9 times out of 10 it's Jaden Fevre who's sort of been sacrificed in that position. But I thought that on Saturday he had a really, really good start to the game. It was a 4 at the back, in my opinion, to start with. Hills was playing right back, who can play well at right back in certain games, but maybe not so much in others. And I think he did have a bit of a tough time on Saturday at times in the game. But we did see the best out of Jaden Fevre getting into space, Norwood getting the ball to even Moxon. I've got to say, I think it was probably one of Moxon's best games, if not his best game in a county shirt. And we perhaps got a glimpse as to why we signed him. I think he was involved in quite a lot during the game, and even managed to have that shot, which was sort of hit the crossbar. But if that had gone in, I think we would have been 3-1 up at that point in time. At that point, do Orient get a second back? Who knows? So it was a defining moment in the game about that, with that shot from Moxon. And unfortunately, luck just wasn't on his side. And he has started to look a little bit better over the last few games. And as I say, I think the one on Saturday was his best game in a county shirt, and that can only be a good thing as we approach, hopefully, not our last game of the season. I don't think it's going to be. I think we are going to win it. I'm confident we're going to win it. Leyton Orient will think the same, but I've got to be honest. I was on my way out. I was on the coach on the way out of Brisbane Road on Saturday, and I saw a load of Leyton Orient fans giving it the big one, almost seeming really happy with a 2-2 draw at home. And let's not make any mistake about this. The draw on Saturday, whilst it's disappointing for us to take a draw in the end, having sort of been leading in the game, I think that it's a better draw for County going back to Edgeley Park than it is for Leyton Orient. So they might be happy with that draw, Orient fans, on Saturday. But like I say, it's going to be a lot tougher for Edgeley Park, I'm pretty sure of that one. Luke Chadwick's coming to chat. He said, "Evening, you may know me as Luke McDonald." Fair enough. He's saying Stockport County 2, Leyton Orient 0. I mean, that would be fantastic. I mean, some people, I saw some as well that showing the Salford game, obviously 2 years ago. I do not want a situation like that again. I do not want it going to extra time and penalties, although I'll take it if we have to. But I just don't think that's going to do anyone's heart good, to be honest, going right down to the wire. I don't think it will go down to the wire. I think County should get it done in 90 minutes, and I'm assuming if Luke's saying 2-0 win, I'm guessing that means in sort of 90 minutes of football, which we do want it doing, even though it's sort of a week and a half from the final at Wembley. Game time matters, so we don't want to play an extra half an hour if we can avoid it. Al Hume is saying, "I think we're going to win." Well, I hope so. Stuart said, "We can win. Orient are a decent team, but nothing outstanding. Diamond and Febs on the wings is essential. I'll be inclined to start with Collar and Camps, but look to use Brecky as a second half sub." Look, I was fuming. I was absolutely fuming on Saturday that we didn't bring Benoni, Brecky, Anderson on. I'll be honest, and it's easy for me to say this as I'm not the greatest fan of Carl Wootton, but I thought that Wootton had quite a few chances in the game, 2 or 3 big chances, I think, if my memory serves me correct, and he didn't capitalise, he didn't make the most of them. I don't think he was offering much else in the game as well. So, yeah, I just think that I couldn't believe it, to be honest, that we didn't bring on Anderson late on in the second half. I also felt that we made the subs far too late in the game. So yeah, I was disappointed that we didn't bring on Anderson. And to be honest, I would probably look to maybe even start him. But yeah, I do agree. Diamond and Febs on the wings would be essential. I'm not 100% sure whether or not he's going to even start Diamond though, because he has been out for a few games now. Will he have him on the bench? There is an argument for both. Collar and Camps to start them. It's a bit of a risk to start them. Like I say, similar to Diamond having, for different reasons, they've been injured. But it's the same thing. Like they've not had much game time, have they, of late? Obviously through being injured, and I know both of them came on in the second half on Saturday. But would you start both of them? That could be a risk, especially in the middle park where the game could be won and lost. For me personally, I think Norwood's been really good over the last few months. I mean, I think it's been great all season, but I think it's shown over the last few months a bit more. So I would start Norwood. As I say, Moxon probably had his best game in the county shirt on Saturday, so I wouldn't look to change too much with that. Collar and Camps, I don't know why I read that as bait. But yeah, Camps, again, I think it's the same thing. I think Moxon would be ahead of him for me on Saturday. Tomorrow. What am I on about here? But Collar, yeah, I think Collar's obviously a great goal as well against Wickham. I think we will go with, I'm hoping we go with a 4-2-3-1. Al Hume saying should win, need to get behind them. Absolutely, I'm looking forward to it. I think we've got to try and pack out Edgeley Park as soon as possible. I know a few people have said that. Let's not be drinking 5 minutes before kick-off. Let's get in there. Let's get in the ground early. Let's create an atmosphere that hopefully sticks with us for 90 minutes and more if it comes down to it. Luke Chadwick saying Jaden Fevre and Ollie Norwood. Yeah, 100%. Them two have been brilliant. You could just tell Norwood loves playing those long diagonal balls across to Fevre, and I can't believe how easy it is for him to keep doing it, and no one seems to be picking up on it at the moment. If you bring Diamond into the equation, he's got the option to play those long diagonals to Diamond as well. So I think we've got good options around us. We've just got to utilise the squad as best as possible. He's saying Fevre and Norwood to score. Well, Norwood's had a few goals, hasn't he, recently? Mainly from the penalty spot. Fevre at the moment, has he been on the score sheet recently? I think he is due a goal, to be honest. So yeah, I'd be quite happy with that one. El Hume said Jack Diamond back. He's also said as well that he would play Fevre and Norwood. Absolutely agree with that one. I think you've got to bring in Fevre, haven't you? And you've got to bring in you want to keep playing Norwood, as well. Luke Chadwick saying Ollie Norwood free kick in front of the Cheadle end. I think Jack Diamond has been playing with the kids. Not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. Been playing with the kids. Didn't play against Middlesbrough at Edgeley Park. Was going to go, but saved my money for bigger games. Well, yeah, I think there's bigger games around the corner. So I think you're quite right to do that. I do think we'll be at Wembley. Chris P saying how are we getting to Wembley? The trains look a nightmare. Well, I'll hopefully be getting the coach if I can get one. But I think that's probably going to be the same for most county fans. Probably going to be a coach or hoping to get a train and maybe try and stay somewhere. That's going to be costly though as well. So I've not even looked at that at the moment. Stuart saying he can play in the hole if Collar or Camps is not 100%. Who was talking about there? You have to let me know. Blue Army said I'm on holiday if County go to Wembley. There's no if about it as far as I'm concerned. We're going to get there. But you're on holiday for the final. I sort of looked at the final date a few months back and thought better not book anything that day, because I always felt that there's a chance we could get in the playoffs, and I always felt that if we got in the playoffs, we would then get into Wembley. So that's kind of where I'm thinking. El Hume said I'm driving down. Gonna be a hell of a drive. Don't drink and drive. Luke Chadwick saying I watched a Courtyard Club call. Was Dan said getting into the stadium early. I will bag the weekend. Take the weekend off. I reckon, if I've read that correctly. Anyway. Courtyard Club call. I've got to end up listening to the end of that actually, because I was listening part way through it and I got busy, so I need to listen to the rest of that. But I have seen the clip of him saying about getting into the stadium early, and I 100% agree with that. I think the atmosphere on tomorrow night, it's got to be intimidating. We've also got to get behind the fans as well. Very good point as well that's being made here by Blue Army. What is the tifo that will be in the Cheadle end? So as far as I'm aware of, I'm not across all the details, but there is going to be a tifo in the Cheadle end tomorrow. And obviously that's why we also want to be in the ground earlier as well to sort of make the most out of that. From what I've seen on Twitter, a lot of work's gone into that, getting the tifo organised. So hopefully it all goes to plan, and hopefully it's going to be a memorable night at Edgeley Park, which I'm sure it will be. I'm very confident. I don't feel nervous at the moment. I never felt nervous about the game on Saturday though. I'll be honest, the nerves hit me. I think the nerves hit me 10 minutes before kick-off, and then I was like, actually, we're here now. There's actually a game of football. We could actually lose we could actually sort of lose it here if we're not careful. So that's when it hit me. I'm not nervous at the moment, but that could change. As we get closer to kick-off. I'm looking at trying to enjoy and make the most out of tomorrow. I'll try and get into the ground as early as possible, but probably have a few drinks maybe in the courtyard or something before that. Stuart's saying I must go do stuff, just wanted to nip in here. We can win, we will win, no worries about that. Hopefully you're okay. El Hume said we can't go 1-0 down, we always do. Yeah, I think it's the last 5 or 6 games now we've gone a goal down, and like I said it in the preview, I think for the last one, we can't keep doing that and expecting that we'll turn it around. Look, we nearly did on Saturday, but like I say, then they get the penalty, and it was a harsh penalty in my opinion on Horsfall. You can't really do too much. It's so close to him, but at the end of the day, I suppose you could look at it and say, if that was the other way round, if that was sort of an opposition defender, would you be unhappy to not get the penalty for it? And there's an argument to say that we would want a penalty for it if it was the other way, I suppose. So yeah, it's one of those. I can see why it's given, but it's a frustrating one. It's a frustrating one to concede, but I suppose you take it if you get it. 1-1 county win on penalties in the Cheadle. I can't take penalties. Besides, what time are we going to be getting out of the ground if it's a penalty shootout and we win? We're going to get out like 11, half 11 or something like that, once everyone's been on the pitch or something. Luke's saying, I will eat my chip butty in the ground when reading my programme. I believe £5 tomorrow is a special one. Get yourself down for that one then if you're interested in getting hold of a match day programme. Horsfall penalty was ball to hand. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it was too close to him, wasn't it, as well? So it's one of them. I can see why it's been given. Like I say, if it's an opposition defender, you're calling for that. You want it as a penalty, but it's harsh when it goes against you. Yeah, I was disappointed. And I didn't really watch it, but I didn't really get a proper view of it till later on. So yeah, I saw it afterwards. A bit like the first one as well. I wanted to believe on the first one that it wasn't an offside goal. I wanted to believe that it hadn't taken a touch off their player, just because I thought the referee can't have missed something that bad. And then it turns out afterwards that he had seen the sort of flick on from their player. He knew that he got a touch, so therefore he would have known it was offside. I can't work that one out. I need to read that comment out. Hopefully we have a better ref after the other day. Absolutely, that's what I said. I think in the end of my vlog, like we've got to, we can play, just as well as we did on Saturday, and with a better referee, we probably win the game, because I think both their goals were fairly questionable. I think we had to work hard for the goals we got. Luke Chadwick said, "Can't take penalties. Blue Army not good for my mental health." Here to that. I completely agree with that one. Pete E has said, County going to Wembley, Diamond back, Cheadle in full roar, #believe. Yeah, absolutely. I'm confident. Just looking at the poll as well, we've had 14 votes after 20 minutes. 93% of you are saying that County are going to Wembley. 7% saying no. Leyton Orient fans, by any chance? Let me know. But yeah, I think hopefully Cheadle will be in full roar, and I'm looking forward to it. Nick 10 said, sorry, but when chances are at a premium, Wootton isn't clinical enough, start Anderson. And look, I agree with that. I do agree with that. In fact, I was going to read some out, because this is one of the comments that came in the other day. I think I was asking for questions. He put, Nick 10 also said the other day, would you agree with me? Something radical needs to happen up front. Wootton isn't clinical, and chances are likely to be at a premium. I suggest a front three of Fevrier, Anderson and Diamond. So that's what he said yesterday, and I think he's pretty much along the same lines today. And for me, Fevrier, Anderson and Diamond, I wouldn't be unhappy with that by any means as a front three. And to be honest, I think that, Tanto, whilst I'm a big fan of Tanto, I think that he struggled a little bit, particularly in that first half on Saturday. And I think there's an argument and a case to be made for dropping both Tanto and Wootton. And I think that would be a brave choice, but I think it could actually be the right choice. So yeah, interested to get your thoughts on that one. Blue Army said I got my SATs, fair enough, or SATs. Luke Chadwick said demand Diamond and Fevrier will have the freedom of Wembley, bigger pitch. Yeah, and of course Norwood to produce those passes, for those two players. Blue Army saying so that won't help. Yeah, Luke saying. He's called James Bell, I think. So the ref, ref, but not too sure. I've seen a couple of interviews with Kelman. He knows he's offside. I think everyone knows he was offside. To be fair, I don't know. I don't like that Omar Beckos. He always moaning to the ref. I mean, there's a couple of players like that in this league, isn't there? Or not in this league, and I suppose some of them are going to be in the Championship next season. Hopefully, Stockport County are going to join those players in the Championship next season. Of course, I'm referring to James McLean. And I think that incident on Saturday was an example of a type of decision which has gone against us, throughout the season. We've had some poor decisions go against us this season. It does feel like a lot of the time more things go wrong for us than they do right, and that is a frustration that I think we've had with referees this season. I also think the other frustrating thing as well is I didn't realise I was getting on the coach on the way back, or sort of the signal sort of comes and goes, at times during the journey back. And at one point, my phone's just blowing up because, and not because there's anything wrong with the phone, but because obviously a lot of people talking about County, the decision that was made with the offside. Everyone was talking about County, it felt like on Saturday, like even the mainstream were covering it. And what's frustrating is we only seem to get covered and spoke about sort of nationwide when it's a situation like a refereeing injustice, or let's say a fan allegedly punching McLean at half-time at Wrexham. That's the only time that County are getting mentioned in the mainstream, and that's really frustrating because what we've achieved over the last 5 years, so not really getting talked about in the same way yet. That everyone will talk about the offside, which was a million miles away, or everyone will talk about the fact that a fan allegedly punched up, an opposition player at half time, but they're not talking about the achievements that County have done over the last few seasons. Very frustrating. El Humus had heard Louis Barry coming down. That would be great. Hopefully permanently. But yeah, it'd be great to have his support for the game. He'll be very, very, very welcome tomorrow if he is coming down for that one. Nick Ten said £5 for the matchday programme. Hope it comes with a free carrier bag. I think they used to do that, but I'm not sure if they do anymore. That's the only problem with programmes, isn't it? You get one before the game, and then you almost don't know where to do it, where to put it. You end up putting it on the floor, so it then gets dirty. So I don't really get programmes anymore because I do a lot more matches than I used to. So I think the sort of the sentimental value to it kind of isn't the same. I keep my match tickets from away games, but that's it. Luke Chadwick said Matt Smith said a few years ago on Horsfall when he scored that shouldn't have counted. Remember? I don't remember it. Matt Smith a few years ago. Well, obviously we were talking about the playoffs, aren't we, from the 22-23 season? I can't remember it now. Luke Chadwick said you're bang on. I think that's me talking about the fact that we don't spoke about around the country as much. Chris P said take Collar out for Diamond. What's holding it up for Diamond? Left wing, Tance, right wing, Fevs, frightening pace and dribbling. I'm not gonna agree with the Wootton thing, but that's just a personal opinion. I don't think Wootton holds it up as well as even Tans or Laffy does. But I just think that I like the idea of Anderson starting down the middle. I think he's fairly big. He's a fairly big striker, fairly tall. Not the tallest, but he's certainly not short by any means. He's fairly quick as well, fairly strong for his age. Not my words, but the most natural finisher at the club. I think a lot of people within the club have said. I can't see why why Anderson doesn't get the opportunities to start more games. I mean, he started just 2 since he signed for us, which I think is pretty poor, considering that everyone around everyone within the club is saying he's the most natural finisher. Surely you would start your most natural finisher in big games like this, but that's just my opinion. Blue Army said, I'd rather not go to the Championship as I don't think we're quite ready to join such a big division. And it's a valid point, but I think I've always said, take it whilst it comes because you never know when that chance will come again. Luke Chadwick said at Salford, yeah, so we're talking about the playoffs a few years ago. PT said, Blue Army, I said the same thing, but we are here with a great chance of going up. Great manager and owner with ambition who loves the club. Let's go for it. And that is exactly that's exactly my opinion as well. I'm going to like that comment. I really like that one. So absolutely spot on, Pete, with that one. We have to take the chance because you don't know when they're going to come around. And I think that we've got, like you're sort of saying there, great manager, great owner, ambition, people that love the club. That's the best time to go up because if it does go wrong, I think you've got a stronger chance of bouncing back. Nick Tenson, is the Luke Chadwick commenting the ex-United player? I don't think so. Panini, any chance we can start without Wootton? I've seen better strikers in the Isthmian divisions. I think I pronounced that correct. Are you watching those divisions? I'm not sure you are. Look, he's a good striker. He's a decent striker for this level, Wootton, but I think he's probably more suited to a lower end to mid-table League One side. I don't know if he's really a top striker at the top of League One and certainly not for the Championship. But I'm happy to be proven wrong on that one. I've always said that. Adai, Hills, Pie Horseful, Ibi Toure, Lewis Bay, Moxon, Norwood, Diamond, Tanto, Benno, Fevrier. So what is that? Is that sort of a 4-3-3, if you like? Decent enough side. absolutely. Blue Army said need to sign Hills. Need to sign Hills as well. I just don't think that's going to happen. I really don't think that's going to happen. But it'd be great if we'd managed to get him. I'm not sure. But I think he struggled when he's played right back the last few weeks. I remember certainly at Peterborough he struggled, and I think he had a few challenges on Saturday as well. I think the thing about Hills is he's still raw, isn't he? And I think you see moments where he wants to get stuck in, which is a great thing. But I think he also has a tendency sometimes to walk a bit of a tightrope. I think Hills has it in him. Like the red card against Wrexham, I think most people could see that was going to happen. And actually, whilst I think he was wrongfully sent off in that sort of occasion, he can put himself in those positions because he can be a little bit, like I say, walking the tightrope. He plays with his heart on his sleeve as well, Hills, which is what we like about him, but it can also be his downfall. And it's that kind of thing of, do you want to coach it out with him? Probably not, because you might lose a lot of good qualities in him by doing that. But I think it is someone which, he's still got to develop, hasn't he? And I just don't think we're going to have the money to sign Hills, but it would be great if we could. Absolutely, because I think Hills has pretty much put himself in as a starting player now in that back four or back five as well. Luke Chadwick saying Mutton is starting to piss me off, really is. Yeah, I mean, I've been frustrated with him for a while. I want him to do well. Like, I was really happy when he was on that goal scoring run a few weeks back, or about a month or so ago now. But he does frustrate me because I really watch what he does, and I don't see him putting the opposition team under a lot of pressure. I don't think Orient looked that under pressure from him from the front on Saturday. I don't think he really brings others into the game as much as well. Like I know a lot of people say, look, people might talk about his aerial duels where he wins a lot of aerial duels. He won a few aerial duels on Saturday, and the ball went straight back to their defence. So I just don't think it's really that positive. Chris P said, "I think Watch just has the experience, be happy with Benno starting, but can see him coming on to score the winner at the Cheadle end." Well, look, if Benno's going to come on to score the winning goal in the Cheadle end, which would be absolutely scenes, then I don't mind Mutton starting, and I don't mind Mutton starting if he's going to be productive. But I just think the last few games, I think some of it might be a tiredness thing as well, fatigue thing, because he's played a lot of football. I think he's, the second, if not the most amount of minutes out of any other county player this season. I don't think he's at his best at the moment. Something I think Mutton. Sometimes I think fucking Cal just score. Yeah, I had that moment. He had a good chance to say early on, and I thought I really want him to score it because I want to be proven wrong on him. Because if I'm proven wrong on him, it's because County are a goal up. So it can only be a good thing. I believe Hills is 6 million. Well, look, if we go up, it's going to be more than 6 million. We're going to be in the same league with Norwich, aren't we, if we go up? So I think then there's a thing of, do you want to sell to a club in, not a rival club, but a club in the same division? There's an argument for that. Pete said Boots always seem to pause when he has a chance of scoring. I think he means Woods. Yeah, he doesn't. He's not a natural finisher, is he? That's the thing with Wootton, and he's playing in an area of the pitch. Maybe it might be better to play him as a sort of like a 10 at times, because if you do play him as a 10 and you play strikers off him, that might work better. But him playing as the main striker probably isn't working. We're probably not being as clinical as I think we could be at times. Sorry about that. Dan Culverwell, thanks for watching as well, by the way. Great show, Rob. Please keep drumming the message for fans getting early. TIFO organisers have asked all in Chile to be seated 15 minutes before kick-off. I've gone for a 3-1 win, 1-1 after 70 minutes, the subs win it, and that would be absolutely fantastic. It would almost be similar to Wickham if we were able to do that. Thanks for the message as well, appreciated. But yeah, I think everyone's got to be in the ground 15 minutes before kick-off. If you want to have a drink before the game and you've got time to, with work or whatever, maybe try and go to the courtyard, try and cut your drinks a little bit shorter this time, because you can have a few drinks afterwards to celebrate, and I'm sure it'll be a fantastic evening. And like I say, get in the ground as early as possible, create an atmosphere as well. Dan said, done a review here. Do you guys agree? Yeah. Luke's saying 4-3-3. Yes. 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 would be interesting. Luke said he has been the same since he came last season. I think it was Grimsby Town at home. I think we're talking about Wootton. Mark Morley said the agenda against Wootton on here is laughable. We wouldn't have as many chances if he didn't play. And that's interesting because for me, I think Norwood creates the chances. I think Collar can create chances. I think Fevre can create chances. I think a lot of the other players have been creating opportunities of late, and I don't look. I just don't see it with Button. We all see it differently. We all see the game differently. There's a reason why, obviously, there must be a reason why he's playing. Chowan are obviously picking him for a reason. I just think when you're playing in that position, you know, but where was Button's involvement in the 2 goals on Saturday? That's what I would ask you. So get back to me on that one. How did he help create the chances on Saturday? Panini said, after the 1K subs, any chance of a giveaway for a Wembley ticket? Oh, God, bloody hell. Look, me and you know each other personally. I know that's a joke. You know I can't do that. Some YouTuber is Rob. Fair enough. Thanks for that one. Michael Pollard said, how much money is a win worth and how much money will we need? Do you know? What's that in relation to? Let us know. Norwich City versus Stockport County, I wouldn't have thought that a few years ago. Yeah, well, I mean, look, they've been in the Premier League, 4 or 5 years ago, Norwich, and County were maybe just getting out the National North. So it's funny old world, isn't it? It's like a few years ago, I think we got promoted, we were the playoff final when we lost to Carlisle. Luton went up that same weekend to the Premier League, I think, and now potentially we could be swapping leagues, for next season. So it's funny old game football. Things can change very, very quickly. Mark Morley said you must watch the game with your eyes shut. No, I don't. I don't watch the game with my eyes shut. I think Wotton sometimes does that, in front of goal. In all fairness, Wootton, is that a new signing? And obviously it's been spelt incorrectly. But look, I think County wanted to put out 2 the other day because I think on the team sheet they had Ethan Pye as number 19 as well, which I thought was interesting. Got the day off for my day set tomorrow too. Can't wait. So I'm guessing you go into the game. I don't know why he signed a contract at the start of the season. Is that Wootton? Yeah, I think he signed one at the beginning of the season. Nick Tenser, ironic that Woots fanboys don't rate Norwood. Now that is laughable. Well, there's a player that does actually bring others into the game. I mean, we saw that perfectly on Saturday, as we have done many games recently with Fevre. That relationship is really starting to build, and that's what I'm saying. I think when I look at Norwood, he's a creator of goals. Nick Powell, who obviously hasn't played much this season, he's someone is a creator of goals. I don't see Wootton doing that often. That's just my opinion. Now, look, people can say to me, "Oh, well, Wootton's a great player." That's fine. That's your opinion. We've all got different opinions. I just don't see it. And obviously, for people to be critical, then a lot of people are seeing him a lot of people are seeing him and not rating him as well. So it's not about it being an agenda. It's just about everyone has an opinion. Some people will rate him, some won't, and that's football. Pete E has said, whatever the result, we need to applaud the team and staff with an amazing season. They have all exceeded everyone's expectations. And I think there is something to that. I think we've had a fantastic season. If you said to me, first season in League One, I think I said 7th. I thought we would be there or thereabouts. I didn't think, to be honest, I thought we might have maybe just missed out on playoffs. But I always felt we had the potential because, part of that was Dave Challoner's record. I think never missing out on a playoff place before in his career. That obviously ended somewhere, but I always felt there was a chance that we could maybe sneak into it this season. Also, the backing that behind the club, and just everything. I just felt like actually, I never felt like we were going to go up to League One just to make up the numbers. And I actually don't think even if we went up to the Championship, we'd be there just to make up numbers. I think we would. I'm not saying we're going to be in the playoffs in the Championship by any means, but I think we'd give it a decent go. I'd like to think that I do back us. I don't think we would finish 24th. So I think it could be an interesting season. One thing we would have to do if we went up is probably adjust our expectations somewhat, because the last few years it has basically been win more times than not, and that would have to change, I think. But look, you've got to take the opportunity to go up to the Championship, if it comes your way. EFL prize money, I'm not entirely sure what the prize money is. I can have a quick look at what the prize money is if you go up as a playoff winner. I'll just have a quick look for this one, see if I can find it. This is according to the BBC. The winners of the 24-25, that's Championship. That's a fair amount. Hang on. That's 220 million. Their counterparts in League One will be about 12 million better off. Right. That can't be right. That's not 12 million, is it, for winning it? If the Championship gets 220 million, that seems way off. Panini's also just said as well, Mark, with all due respect, what on earth are you on about? When was the last time Wootton scored, let alone gone on a good run of goals per game? To be fair, he scored it. He got was it a goal or two against Exeter? He was on a decent run at that point in time. To be fair to him, yeah, Pete, we are here now. I'm a winner. Let's win it. Fair enough. Panini's put Wootton has 13 goals in 51 appearances this season. You do the maths. That's fucking terrible. Look, they're not my words. That's someone else's words. Jim Halpert, I think, has said some of the best football we've played in recent times was last year when Wootton was injured. Yeah, I mean, look, I've made that point before. I think that's when we looked at our best, particularly at the beginning of the season when you were playing Tanto and Barry with one another. The link-up was incredible. I thought Madden was a really good player for that. I mean, Madden was a goal scorer and a goal creator as well. I mean, how many times did we see Madden get in a position, maybe in the halfway line, running at a team, and he'd play that ball in behind for Tanto and it creates opportunities. That's where, when we say, Wootton's important to how we play, I think Wootton's trying to copy what Madden did last season, but Madden was better at doing it. And also, to be fair to Wootton, Madden was doing it in a league lower. So, it's one of those. Had we kept Madden this season, I might have ended up saying the same things about him. And I was a big fan of Madden, so it's one of those. But yeah, I just think that I do agree with that. I thought we played better football last season. That was when Wootton wasn't playing, and I don't think he contributes as much as people say. Mark Morley said Norwood has been good recently, not first half of the season. Even Charlie said as much. Powell is a wage thief. What impact has he actually made? Look, the idea of calling a wage thief, I don't agree with. He's picked up a salary because that's what that's a contract. The club has signed it off, knowing that he was an injury-prone player. They probably saw it as a bit of a coup signing at the time when we brought him in. Don't forget, we brought him in on the back of playoff, finalists in League Two, looking to make that step up to League One, and it was a coup signing, getting him from Stoke. So, and I thought he was influential last season. So I think he had a good impact in games last season. He's not had an impact this season. I'd hold my hands up on that. In an ideal world, we get him off the wage bill this season. I think he's got a year left in his contract, so I don't know if that's going to be easy enough to do that. But I would actually say, yeah, we do need to move Powell on this summer if the opportunity was there, because he is too injury prone, and also as well now for the level that we're at, we are probably capable of getting or attracting better players. But at the time when we signed him, it was very much a coup signing, and I think he served his purpose for the league in which we were in at the time. You could sort of say the same for Wootton. So it's all about opinion. But I think that Powell is a good player. I think he has been unlucky with injuries. I think it's a shame that he's had the injury problems, because I actually think that had Powell not had the injury problems, he is a Championship player. He might have even made it in the Premier League, because you don't end up at Man United at the age of 18 by accident if you're a bad player, So that's what I would say to that. I think injuries have sort of hindered his career, but he's managed to have some good moments through that. And about Norwood, he's been unbelievable recently, but I think he's been solid all season. I think he's probably looked better since Lewis Bates not been in the team, because we've been able to notice a lot more about how good Norwood is. He stands out a lot more in that midfield maybe when Bate isn't in it, as opposed to when Bate is in it, if that makes sense. 13 really isn't good enough. Obviously, that's referring to the amount of goals that Wootton scored this season. Is it as low as 13? I thought it might have been more than that. I think it's 21 or 22 goal involvements in all competitions this season, so I'm pretty sure he got more than 13, but that must be correct. 13 goals in 51 appearances, that is in all competitions though. I'm trying to calm down people now. I've not started the agenda on Wootton. So it's one of them. I just think personally we would be better off playing a front three, which is a little bit different. Returning players, I think obviously Lewis Camps could be back tomorrow. I wouldn't want to risk him, certainly from the get-go. I think some people have said start Camps or bring Camps into the starting 11. I wouldn't want to do that. He also spoke about some players as well that could have been involved on Saturday. I think he said Hinchliffe as well could have potentially been involved, but would have been a risk. Southern Wales, I think, is a sort of similar situation. It's interesting that you spoke about Hinchliffe. I mean, to what extent could he have been involved? I find that interesting. Panini said, nope, it's like 16 goal involvements in 51. It's not easy. Come on, let's be fair. It's 21. SCFC Forever's put yo. Thanks for watching. So yeah, obviously Diamond back. Another really interesting point as well that I want to make. Obviously, I've not heard anything about Noyle. I was halfway through listening to the pre-match interview, to be fair, which I think was released yesterday. So he might have gone on to mention it. But if anyone can tell me the situation with Noyle, I've not heard much on that recently. I've also not heard anything on Jay Mingy. He seems to have gone quiet again. He had a bit of a comeback a few weeks ago, or maybe a month or so ago now, and it's gone quiet on him. And also as well, a few other names which seem to have been forgotten about. Of course, the players which came in on loan in January, Mika Hamilton and Sam Cosgrove. Just not heard anything about those two. My understanding is that Cosgrove came in to sort of give Wootton a bit of a breather, but that doesn't seem to have happened. So Drew Robinson said, I disagree, Woods is brilliant. And that's fine, and it's all about opinion. I do respect that. And in all fairness, those who are a fan of him, they can say the 21 or the 22 goal involvements this season is good. And I suppose if you look at it, if it is 21 or 22 goal involvements across 50 games in all competitions, that is pretty much what a goal again. I don't want to do an Aluko here, but it is pretty much a goal. Pretty much every 2 games you have sort of an impact in front of goal, one way or the other. So it's not too bad. But I just think he's not a clinical striker, is he? Even the biggest Wootton fans have to admit that he's not a natural finisher. I think someone said it before in the chat as well, that he can look hesitant in front of goal at times. And I remember, I think it was Birmingham on New Year's Day. I think that there was a chance for him to put it away. He just didn't look confident. A sort of a proper striker with a goal instinct would have pounced on that opportunity, and he didn't. And there's sort of moments across the season as well where that has been the case. SCFC Forever to put. I've got 2.29 subs. I think me and you are the best county fan channels. Well, thanks for that. I do appreciate it. It's not. I don't really look at it as being the sort of best fan channel. There's quite a few now, isn't there, covering county, and some have been doing it longer than me, of course. But I think there's loads of good county content out there at this point in time over the last few years as well, and I think it's great for people to sort of keep up with. As I say, we've had Dan as well in the chat today. The sort of show he does, the Courtyard Club Call, is absolutely fantastic as well. So there's loads of good stuff out there, but I do appreciate the comments. So cheers for that one. Cosgrove and Hamilton are quiet, yeah, absolutely. They don't really play. That's the thing. It seems to have just gone quiet on them, and I think that why have we brought these players in to not play them? We must be paying a percentage of the wage, so. That's just wasted money, really, in my opinion. Matt Morley said, I changed collar for Diamond. Tomorrow collar looks knackered. Noyle and Mingy just dropped. Look, I can see that. I think we've seen it in games recently with Diamond, that he does like to sort of drift inwards at times, almost playing as a 10. So I think that you could get away with playing him, for Collar. And I do think that Collar has looked tired in the second half of the season. He's not looked quite as good as he did in the first half of the season. And I think it's just because he offers a lot of energy when he plays, and I think that he probably is in need of a rest. So I think there's common ground amongst us two there on that one. Noyle and Mingy just dropped, though. That's an interesting one, because are they just dropped? We need a right back. And at the moment, Noyle's, it must be injury related. It has to be. Mingy as well. I don't get it. I don't get what the situations around him. He was brought in, it was explained that he was a really versatile player. He can play in this position, that position. And we just don't really seem to have played him, and every time he has played, he's looked decent. So, yeah, interesting, that one. Matt Morley, same for Hamilton and Cosgrove too, all just 4 left out the squad. I don't know why we brought him in. I don't know why we brought him in. Michael Pallard said, have we given away too many free kicks this season, and will we give one on Wednesday? Who's our best penalty saver? Look, it's an interesting question. I think we probably have given away a lot of free kicks this season. Some of them I don't think have been free kicks. I think some of them we've been unlucky, sort of unlucky in. I think Northampton at home at the beginning of the season, or it might have been October kind of time. Ethan Pye gave one late on, which I think they scored from. I thought that was a harsh one. We obviously had the free kick in the reverse fixture against Northampton, which shouldn't have been given as a free kick. I think our player went down, their player went down. They gave it as a free kick for them. It probably should have just been a drop ball, if I remember correctly. Then again, it is a very long time ago. That feels like in my head, that Northampton away game. So yeah, I think some of them have been unlucky against us, but we probably have given away too many. The one at Bristol as well, Odin Bailey away from home, gave away a free kick late on, which they scored from. So I think there's an argument to say we probably have given away too many free kicks this season. Will we give one away on Wednesday? I really hope not. I'm just praying that we don't. It would be a horrible way to let the playoffs get away from us. And the prospect of promotion, to let it go from giving away a free kick would be a bitter pill to swallow. And who's the best penalty saver? I mean, that's gonna rattle a few feathers, isn't it? That's gonna cause a few arguments. Is Adai a better penalty saver than Ben Hinchliffe? For some reason in my head, I could be wrong, but I feel like Corey Adai was involved in a penalty shootout in the playoffs last season with Crawley, which they must have come out on top in. So I could be wrong on that. Obviously Ben Hinchliffe, been at the club a long time. I'm sure he would have been involved in some big penalty shootouts himself, but it just feels to me as well like sometimes the penalty shootouts I can remember. I remember the one at Leicester in the cup. I remember, was it Sheffield Wednesday as well in the cup? There's been a few penalty shootouts with Hinchliffe in goal, and we've not come out on in the right way. So it is frustrating. With that, but I think I'd back Adai because he's been in good form at the moment, and I think that's the right thing to do. Panini said all hype, no impact. Cosgrove and Hamilton, absolutely, especially Hamilton as well. I was quite excited about that because it was the unknown. It was someone who's gone from City to Middlesbrough, not really got a lot of game time, but he's a young prospect. He scored a goal in European football, so that wasn't how many players a county signed that have got that kind of experience behind them. Not many. So it wasn't a potentially exciting one, especially on the back of Barry going back to Villa as well. It felt like he could have been that. I know he's probably a slightly different style of player to Barry, but sort of a replacement for him, if you like. I was excited for it, and we've just not seen what he can offer, unfortunately. SCFC Forever said Adai, Horsfall, Pye, Ibi, Toure, Connolly, Bate, Norwood, Moxon, Alafi, Woods, Diamond should be the lineup. It's interesting you've said Connolly. I'm going to give you my starting 11 now. And of course, this is dependent on injuries. But I've gone with a 4-2-3-1 of Corey Adai, of course, in goal, Hills, Horsfall, Ethan Pye and Brian Rydell as a back four, Moxon and Norwood as the two central midfielders, Fevrier to the right, Collar behind the striker, Diamond to the left, and Benno Anderson down the middle. So that's the starting 11 I would like to see us go with. Of course, who's going to have the captain's armband in that situation? I'd give it Ollie Norwood. So yeah, that's the team I would go with. Pete E has said what's causing problems up front, but he is not an out-and-out goal scorer. I still think we need to start him, then bring on Anderson, who probably wouldn't have an impact in a full 90 minutes. #substitute. Look, I think it's an interesting talking point. Some might say that Wootton does offer that ability to tire out defences, to allow the player that's coming on to have the impact, which, look, there could be an argument for, we'll never know. As for Anderson maybe not having that impact in a full 90, we don't know because he's never even played a full 90 yet, has he? I think he's had 2 starts, he's come off in half-time in both those games, I think unfairly in both of those games, but we've not seen him play more than 45 minutes, have we, which I think is frustrating. County Fan 69 has said 3-0 County win tomorrow. I mean, that would be brilliant, especially an early goal. Mark Morley said it's not Rob. Charlie mentioned all those players in his interview, none of them injured. Okay, fair enough then, fair enough. County Fan 69 said Corey by man, that's in response to the penalty, who's a better penalty saver. Luke Chadwick said no, he saved the penalty, Rob, thanks for that. I thought it was something. And he's also saying Corey is better than Ben Hinchliffe. Is that as a goalkeeper or as a penalty saver? Because I think you might wind some people up with that comment otherwise. County Fan 69 said County a much better side. Class will come through in the end. Well, I certainly hope so. I think it did a little bit in even in the game on Saturday. Like I say, if the refereed the game correctly with competent linesmen, then I think we probably win that game. PE said Hinchliffe, Salford penalty shootout class. Yeah, it's a fair point. It's a fair point. I picked on the Sheffield Wednesday game and the other games, and I didn't acknowledge that one. So yeah, it's a fair point. County Fan 69 said Diamond will defo be involved. I think it will be the same side. It's interesting to see if he starts him, isn't it, or if he comes off the bench. I feel like he's going to start him on the bench. That's my gut feeling, but I want to see him start. Xander 1989 has said, how can Hills not be in anyone's starting lineup? I agree with that one. He's got to start for me. Try to get through all these as quick as possible, so bear with me if I'm not getting your comment read out straight away. Panini said, I have £15 on Sunderland winning tonight. If they win, I'll be able to get my Wembley and train ticket to London. Let's all hope they win. Look, if you have £15 on Sunderland winning tonight and that works, you can give me the money for Peterborough, because I'm still waiting on that one. County Fan 69 said Hills is class and will always play. When he went off though, Saturday he wasn't moving great. Yeah. And Nick 10 said start Anderson. I'm on that bandwagon 100%. Who's the fourth captain after Bate, Horsfall and Wootton? It should be Norwood in my opinion, but I'm not sure. We need an early goal tomorrow. Yeah, of course we do. And that's County needing an early goal as well, by the way, just to clarify. We do need an early goal, but it has to be a County goal, and we don't want to go a goal down. That's for sure. Captain Birdseye, fourth choice. Don't know who that one is. As long as there's no hair pulling or dodgy officiating, we should be all right, absolutely. And maybe well, actually, if I was Challoner, I would start Diamond, because if not, he might turn his hair pulling attention to Dave Challoner. Interesting. Did he really pull that opposition player's hair though? I don't think so. Luke Chadwick said Ryan Rydell has been unlucky not to start. Yeah, I think he's done all right. Recently when he's come on as well. County Fan 69, does he owe you money? In a way, look, it's fine. It's fine. There's not going to be any fallings out over that one. Chadwick said, Luke Chadwick has said, Rydell can cross the ball, not Ibby. He doesn't, in my opinion. The thing is, as well, so Rydell and Ibby Toure, if you could put those two, combine them as a fullback, you've got a hell of a fullback. I mean, it'd be a Premier League fullback, wouldn't it be? If you had Ibby Toure and Rydell. The defensive ability of Toure and the attacking ability of Rydell put together would be absolutely fantastic. I'm a big fan of Toure. I think he's a great defensive fullback, but I think he's too hesitant to put a ball in, and he does frustrate the life out of me. And recently, it has really frustrated me. On Saturday, there were so many times I'm just thinking, put a bloody ball in, and he wouldn't do it. He'd sort of get to a certain point, he'd turn around and he'd pass it back, and it's just like it missed opportunities, in my opinion. Mark Morley said, please make sure that the fans in the railway end tomorrow take their sun cream. It'll be baking in there with no shade. Yeah, I mean, it's better than it chucking it down raining though, isn't it? As it was for me on that final day against Hartlepool a few seasons ago. County Fan 69 said, no, I can ask people to get you the money back. No, we're not going down that territory. Anonymous internet addict has put excited but bricking it. I'm excited. I'm not bricking it at the moment, but maybe I will be bricking it 10 minutes before kick-off tomorrow, as I was on Saturday. Obviously, Leyton Orient as well. I think it's 6 wins now from their last 8. They've not lost, I think, away from home since they lost to Burton on April the 1st. And like I said, I think they were happier with the draw on Saturday. So Kelman with more goals as well, controversial to say the least. He's now scored 26 from 59 matches, I think, in all competitions for this season. But yeah, it's going to be a hell of a job keeping him quiet as well on tomorrow night. I have to keep reminding myself it's a midweek game. I'm not good with these ones. But yeah, look, I think County overwhelmingly heading back to Edgeley Park as favourites. We've only lost once at Edgeley Park, just once in 2025 so far, and obviously that came in a 2-1 defeat to Mansfield on the 4th of January. We've lost just 3 out of our 23 matches at home in League One this season. Only Birmingham, Wrexham and Charlton have lost fewer. Stockport have also got the joint second most wins at home this season, along with Wrexham, who have both picked up 16 league wins at home. And again, only Birmingham have won more with 19 wins this season. Not many, though, have won more away from home this season in League One than Leyton Orient, who have picked up 12 wins as a visiting side this campaign. And only Birmingham have won more with 15, while Wycombe Wanderers matched the O's with 12 wins away from home. Just a bit of interesting stats there for you. Like I say, both come into it optimistic. A lot of people saying as well that Orient are a better side away from home. That's an interesting point. County Frantic Side has said ha to that. Leyton Orient will be in the railway end. No, I believe they're not in the railway end. I believe we've got county fans in the railway end tomorrow, which is interesting because we have started to put them in the railway end this season. Panini's put Rob, me and Adam are getting the train to Wembley. You should join us as we take the roof off the carriage. Haller County. I'm not doing anything illegal, so that won't be happening. And I can't see Adam getting the train to Wembley. You have to ask Adam on that one. Luke Chadwick said, I would have Kelman at County if we go up. Again, it's a bit like Brad Hill's situation though, isn't it? QPR might have something to say about that. Look, I'm going to have to call it a time. I'm going to have to call it a day at some point because I do plan on watching the Sunderland Coventry game, I think it is tonight. So I'm looking forward to that one. I was blown by. I think that's what I want to say. Gone by quickly. There's a better way of putting it. Anonymous Internet Addict, also known as Adam, of course, from the vlogs, said, to everyone in the Cheadle end, please be in your seats by the time the team comes off after warm-up in order to build up the atmosphere up and get your seat for the TIFO. Also, get some throat lozenges. Not sure what that's all about. But anyway, what's the throat lozenges for? So you've caught me off guard with that one. But yeah, apart from that, I echo the thoughts. Nick Ten said, no doubt fans in Railway End will witness at close hand Wotton's fluff a sitter as per normal. You'll also see his bandage around his arm in close up as well. Mark Molly said, all good banter, Rob. Good show. Thanks very much for that one. I think we've all got opinions on Wotton, haven't we? And there's a load of fans who like him. There's a load of fans who not dislike him but don't rate him. But yeah, I'm not getting the train to Wembley. Says Anonymous Internet Addict. Blown by XD. Yeah, he's not getting the train. I don't think many will be. Luke Chadwick said, I'm off now. Come on, County. Let's get to Wembley. I love this football club. Great show. Looking forward to the vlog. Buzzing. Great show as always. Thanks very much for that one. Hopefully you enjoy it tomorrow. And I'm buzzing for it as well. Anonymous Internet Addict he's clarified. He said throat lozenges for spurring the lads on. I'll need them, but you know what I'm like. Yeah, absolutely. I won't be able to listen to you later afterwards. I'll just see your mouth opening, but I won't actually hear anything. Panini said, we all know what you're like. We're not going down that road, are we? We're not going down that road. Anonymous Internet said, see you, Luke, and he said, see you, lad. Great, yeah. So I think people probably wanting to get on with the rest of the evening, aren't they? Now we've done our show. We're optimistic. We're all positive. I'm just going to check. I've not checked the poll actually for a while. An hour ago, this went up 31 votes. 74% are saying that County are going to go to Wembley. So yeah, I'm confident. I'm really confident. I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's a brilliant opportunity. I think we're a better team going into the playoffs than we were going into the playoffs last time around, and obviously we're sort of division up. I'm really confident. Like I say, Leyton Orient, they've come into this playoffs as a very informed side, but I just think County, we've got the advantage with that draw coming back to Edgeley Park. They won't be there at Edgeley Park as well, those Orient fans, for the most part, so that gives us another advantage. I'm looking forward to it. Panini is saying see you soon. PE said the 12th man will roar tomorrow. Great vlog, pal. Keep it up. Thanks very much for that one, and I really hope we can be that 12th man. I really hope we can get over the line and book ourselves a place at Wembley, of course, for that bank holiday weekend. And I think it's going to be Charlton in the final. So let's wait and see on that one. Of course, that playoff semi-final is on Thursday, so I guess we'll keep our eyes out for that one. But of course, we have to book ourselves a place at Wembley before all that. So yeah, very much looking forward to it. We will have the vlog out as well at some point tomorrow night, maybe Thursday morning. I'll try and get it out as soon as possible. But I want to say a big thanks to everyone who's got involved in the show live. If you are watching it afterwards as well, get your comments in. Like the video if you've enjoyed it, of course. Subscribe if you are new. And we will have the that vlog out, hopefully, and hopefully it'll be one to remember. Nick Ten said important semi-final on TV, Eurovision. Don't know what that's all about. But anyway, big thanks to everyone, and hopefully we'll see you guys in the next one, and hopefully Stockport County get that result tomorrow, get over the line. I'm going to say County are going to win 3-1, and I predict that we're actually going to go down first, as we have done the last few games. I'll probably change that prediction in my pre-match vlog anyway. So, yeah, it's just one of those things, isn't it? But like I say, very much looking forward to it, buzzing for it. Hopefully, if you're there, you're going to be looking forward to it. If not, it is on Sky, and hopefully we book ourselves a place at Wembley. And, of course, we'll try to do our best to get there for that one. And then, of course, all the tickets and chaos comes into it. So let's just enjoy tomorrow and worry about all the chaos of getting tickets through future ticketing afterwards. But big thanks to everyone, like I say, for getting involved, and hopefully see you guys in the vlog, and hopefully County can get that win and book ourselves a place at the Wembley playoff final for that bank holiday weekend. What is it next? Not next weekend, the weekend after. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really confident. So big thanks to everyone.